talk more about anxiety. A lot of people reach out about, we did anxiety and then like nervous system back to back.
Yeah.
And it might have been, I think both of us get like people saying, thank you for the episode or whatever. But I had conversations like weeks after, people just being like, I just listened to it like that again. And I was really thinking about it. So I loved that touched a chord. And then I said to you, I don't know what, one of the days that we talked a couple weeks ago or last week, hey, remember I asked you about the anxiety thing. Do you feel it now more the way I was describing? And then we started talking and I was like, ooh, let's re-record.
Yeah, no, I don't feel it any different, but it does come out in so many different ways. You know, we're brilliant at masking and deflecting. You know, I don't think there's any other group, any other types of people that are able to deflect and hide and maneuver around the way we do. You know, good and bad, that ends up being.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I call them defense mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's, a million different ways. And a lot of times when we talk, and I talk to people and parents, and they don't even realize what they do or their kids do, or, because we end up being, such pros at it. And like I said, in good and bad ways.
Mm-hmm.
But, once you're aware of it as yourself or as a parent, you may be so good at it you don't even realize it yourself. So, expanding this conversation, so maybe it triggers more understanding for people why we do certain things, and why, this leads to that, to that, to that, to this, to that, to this. As everybody heard me on, as I always talk about understanding. Relatability and understanding is the biggest thing. Once you can understand, then you can change if you need to be, if you need that change, right? You can't change anything, or you can't, if you don't understand. If you didn't see somebody, why didn't I notice that? Well, because you didn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And everything revolves around understanding.
So a couple different things. And I think for the parent that is listening to this, that has anxiety and has realized, they have more anxiety than they possibly have thought. Kids are so in tune to feeling parents' anxiety nervous systems. I didn't realize how in tuned until I started doing a lot of like inner child. I've been doing like a lot of meditation. And I think you and I have talked about this. I really probably haven't talked about it too much on here, but a lot of inner child work, like healing wounds that I didn't realize I even had, that I really was like, that's not that big of a deal, but then kind of tying it back to other things. And it's been really fascinating. And one of the things that I came up with that is, I had a good childhood. There was a lot going on. There was 5 of us. There was, some traumas in there, and we don't need to go into detail of that. But my home, my nervous system was never settled because of everything going around. So as I became an adult, I actually was comfortable in an unsettled nervous system, which is not good as you are trying to achieve high things or creating your own family. And so I realized that I was very comfortable with like my nervous system being at high energy. When people would say to me, oh my God, I love your energy. There's a good energy. And then there's the high alert nervous system energy, and like the rushing or doing this or having to fit all a million things in. I know I was doing it at a level of comfort and not realizing I was doing it at a level of comfort, but because that's where my nervous system was used to. School, right? My nervous system was always up. I was never settled. And really not into the last number of years have I been able to settle my own nervous system.
And that's that high anxiety, and that's also known as fight or flight.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. fight or flight or people pleasing, right? Those are like the things that you do as, and I was always, I go into the fight. My sister goes into the flight. We talk about it now. Like if she has to make a decision, she's like, "Oh, I'm doing that again. I'm avoiding, right?" Like I go head on into it. Like I'm like, "No, we're going to get into it." So it's all really interesting things and not good or bad. Like as I said, you don't have to have this traumatic life to think, "Oh, wait, I don't need to think about this." Because so many people think of trauma as abuse or, physical, mental, sexual, whatever it is. And a lot of times it's not. It's just where your nervous system is living at times of your life and where your nervous system gets stuck. And that's when then you can't get to the next level in a lot of things.
It's, I had one guy I had, his company's worth, 30 million, $40 million, sold it. He's never written on the board, the whiteboard in the office.
Mm-hmm.
Hands the marker off.
Understandable.
Hands it always off to somebody to go up there to do it, right? He wasn't getting up there writing it.
I totally got everything got tight when you said that. I put myself in that situation and I was like, oh, I would totally hand it off because spelling, right? And messy handwriting.
Right. No, I would not. No, here we go. When I was with, when I was coaching hockey, drawing the board, it was all scribble. It was all scribbles. Kids like, what the fuck? What is that? I can't read. So 100%. Definitely do that. And, obviously from me is, at night when I come home, I'll watch the same TV. Everything for me is, I'll do the same or the same food. I'll watch the same TV show. Everything is in repeat. There's no trying something new. There's no going somewhere new. It's not, nothing is outside the box of what I do. I know what I could go and eat the same meal every single day. I could go to the same restaurant every single time. I could watch the same TV show every single day. I don't watch anything new. I don't turn on a new movie, nothing. I know what's coming.
It's because of your traumas, but there's also a personality and there's different things. But for a parent to think about this and see it, it's able to bring conversation around it. It's able to bring that curiosity and talking. So I just did this deep imagining this morning, and it was really interesting because it brought me into a schoolhouse. Okay. Or school, it said schoolhouse, but like school building. And it was like, what happens? And this had nothing to do with dyslexia. This was just taking through different situations, bringing you to your childhood home, to a school, and then to different places that you enjoy. So you could feel the difference in your body. And it was fascinating. So when I talk about meditation, that's one of the things, like I can't just sit there and I need like the kind of guided, but this was actual work that I'm doing. It's basically clearing things out. But it was fascinating because I tightened up in a different way. I tightened up at home, and it wasn't because it was bad, but because of just the unsettledness of everything that happened during my childhood. And then it brought me to like my favorite place, and I could just feel my body. Then it brought me into a school, and it was not a similar tightness. It was a little bit of it was more of a sour tightness where my home was it's still a tightness, but it was in a different part of my body. It was so fascinating. Then it brings you again to like another place that was happy, and you just feel like your body gets like just tingly in the best way, not this tightness. And so doing these kind of things where you feel how you felt, so an adult can bring it back and be like, okay, when was it the times that my nervous system tightened up? And then in life, when my kids are around, like I wish and I never go back and be like, oh, I wish I did this, but I wish when my kids were little, I had done some of this because I know I would have been a healthier parent for them. Because I know there was times, and we talked about this, like with schedules and all these things, even if it was like music and the library, all these things would give me such anxiety because I never wanted to be the person that was late, even though I don't mind being late for those kind of things. I didn't want to be the mom that was like, oh, here comes the scattered mom, because I heard my mom talk about those parents and not in a bad way, but in like her school world, right? So I never wanted to be the one that was like, oh, this is bad, until I got into it. And then I was like, I don't give a fuck. I actually want to be that mom. Like, but before, when my kids were little, I didn't want to have that attention deficit, scattered, your kids are scattered kind of like label. And I was so fighting not to have that. And it was really, and I had anxiety all the time around it.
And it's, finding out what that feeling is, obviously, to be able to diagnose and understand what that anxiety was, because it does come out in many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And once you can understand that, then you can attack it. And attacking it is however that is, per what it is and per what you want. Everybody has trauma, childhood trauma. Now, it's to what depth and how repetitive was it. And then obviously I talk about this all the time, being addictions, all childhood trauma. So it happens, somebody always talks about, I hear it all the time, my kid's got to be Miss Perfect or Mr. Perfect. He's got to be perfect. There's no such thing. Why are you trying to do that? What's triggering that? Because if I don't get it right, if I don't get 100, if I don't get this perfect, am I going to get yelled at? Am I going to let my parents down? What? There's a reason why. There's no such thing as perfect. When practices make perfect, it only makes better.
Yeah. So, okay, think about this, okay? Because this was part of this deep imagining that I did today. You're in the school and it's catering to you. You're allowed to do whatever you want and learn however you want and flow throughout the day in your own. And it was kind of interesting. It was like your own curiosity. And I was, of course, like, oh my God. I like my tightness like left. And I was thinking about it. If I was a kid in school, how would I have liked to learn? And like, this is when you were like little, right? So this was like 5, 6. That's where I put myself. And I was thinking that I would have completely gone at it with my curiosity, because that's how I was. I was the kid that asked a million questions. I was so curious. Now, I did have family members that answered my question. I don't know if I was like, I don't remember if it was then where people were like, oh my God, the questions, right? Or if it was when it was in school, because there was a time in my life where it was like the annoyance, right? There was adults that found it annoying.
Yeah.
And so
the old why. Why, Mom? Why, Dad? Why? Why do I do the why? The why phase.
But that's like a learning, right?
God.
That's a learning, and that's
the worst phase ever.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God, I loved that phase. It was like, it was one of my favorite phases. I loved it, and I would sit and I would answer the questions for my kids, and I was fascinating me to see how they were thinking, and I absolutely like loved it. Loved it. I can remember being in the city and if I didn't know something, we would figure it out. And it was like and I think it was me going back to childhood and fulfilling, things that I didn't get. There was, and no offense to my parents or teachers, whatever, when there's 5 kids or 23 kids, you can't answer that one kid all the time. And that one kid then realizes, okay, I can't do it that way. And so whatever it was, but it was that I could literally, I had a teacher and I was like they would give problems, and in my head they would give problems and I would figure it out, and then they would say, okay, I want you to take me through how you figured that out. That was so fascinating. Like you did it differently, but I want to learn how you did it. And it was like the best fucking feeling. I was like, I want to go to that school. But think about that for a kid. If a kid, when they are early, especially a dyslexic kid, like what are all your faces for? I want you to speak now.
The why face?
Oh my God, I loved it.
There's nothing worse.
Oh my God. Well, okay. I want you to pause there. Was it nothing worse because of what you had going on in your life and you didn't have time to answer it?
No,
Or you didn't know the answers, so you were uncomfortable?
I don't even know if I know the answers. I didn't want to answer 7,000 questions.
Yeah, but why? And I didn't do that on purpose. I swear I did not. No, but
why? But why?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, the questions. I remember Penelope, because I remember there was time Penelope had the deepest questions though. Like she had, like when she was like 2 and 3 and 4, they were like God and death and heaven, and we didn't even have anyone that really died. Like, and I would just remember being like, oh my God, okay. And math. She had so many questions on math, but now I know she probably was trying to figure out in her own head. And I, of course, couldn't answer half of them. Like, but she would be like, Mom, can you do? I'm like, no, honey, I can't do that in my head. And I remember like driving, being like, but loving her curiosity.
Yeah, on Saturday when we were at that birthday party, we're talking to a couple, their son, him and his girlfriend, they find it cute and fun how they give each other math problems. I'm like,
oh wow. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, she's going to get her PhD in math or something at UIC. I'm like, huh. Yeah, he comes back with like a 5-page answer on something. I'm like,
wow. It's kind of like what's the movie with Matt Damon with the math on the Good Will Hunting?
Good Will Hunting. Well, yeah, no.
But that's a curiosity, and right, we're not comfortable with that.
No, I'm not answering that.
Oh my God,
I just said 1 + 1 is, if anything higher than that, that's 2, and that's it. We're done. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. That's a different level of curiosity, right? I mean, that gives me anxiety right there thinking about that. That's so interesting. Right.
7,000 whys a day. No, just it is what it is. Just listen. That's it.
But is it like, really think about it? Is it because you couldn't answer? Or there was too much going on in your own life? Like, because think of it, if you had all the freedom and there's a little kid just so curious about the world. And I think it's like my favorite freaking stage. It's my favorite stage. I could go back there a million times. I could just see their faces and the questions and then their eyes, like when you could answer and you could get into the conversation. And oh my God, I loved it. I remember Truman one time asked, how come if a tornado does and he was like, if a tornado does this, can it go down a crack? And he brought me to the crack. And he's like, so if a tornado came here, could it go down this crack? Would a part of it go down the crack? And I remember my mom and I being like, oh my God, I wonder where that came up and where, how that was developing in his brain. And then we talked about storms. And this is when he was 3 or 4. And then there was no storms where we were at the beach. It was the summer, you know what I mean? But those kind of things.
It's interesting where it took you. I was never like, oh, well, what's in her brain? No, turn that brain off. I'm done.
Right. But here's the thing. If I wasn't a stay-at-home mom and I had a million other things, no, that would be awful. Because you couldn't give your kid the attention that they, but I had the time. I, was able to sit and be like, okay, I'll answer. And I mean, I've said this on the podcast. I had friends that would send their kids. They'd be like, oh yeah, just ask Juliet. She'll sit and answer all your fucking questions because I don't want to answer your questions. I think most people don't enjoy that stage, but if they really think about why they don't enjoy it. Is it really because the questions are annoying, or is it because there's other things going on in their life that their brain couldn't sit there and take in anymore?
You like
I mean,
the
there was
why,
days.
though. You like the why.
I love the why. I mean, don't I hear it? I still.
Yeah.
I love asking questions.
Mm-hmm. And then they ask you a question, and you ask them a question, and you guys just get into, you just got, how many whys can there be in a question?
Oh, it was amazing. No one does it anymore.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Grandkids. Maybe grandkids will do it. I got to wait, hopefully, for a while for that. Right? Your grandkids ask questions?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Peter just goes off, and we saw him this weekend. It was Peter jumped in mud putt, just covered Julie from head to toe in mud.
Oh, I love that.
All the way her neck.
Oh, that's sweet, though.
It was
exploring.
At
least it wasn't you covered in mud.
No, he loves being outside, digging in the dirt and bugs, and
Yeah, that was my kids.
Saturday was this weekend was in his, we got up to like 70 here.
Oh my God, when can we fucking get a little warm?
Yeah, it was quite nice. Now we're down to, I think we're down back to the 40s. But Chicago weather, you never know what.
Yeah, that's what's interesting. We never get like the big swings. It's like pretty steady.
Yeah,
like, we never like a day. Yeah,
big time.
Yeah.
Well, what was it last week where we got? It was last week, or we got, 2 days before the parade. Was 65 degrees, 70 degrees, and then the parade on that Saturday was 25 and snowing.
Right.
Now we get big fluxes,
and that really helps your allergies, huh?
I'm just so miserable already.
Well, have you taken your stuff that, like, your oils and stuff like that you did for one period of time that you said you thought it worked?
Nothing worse. So now the winter's great because everything's frozen. It's perfect. Spring and summer, I already got allergies. Cold.
You like the fall though, don't you?
Yeah, fall's nice. Yeah, no allergies. Well, the allergies are the worst.
Yeah, I can't. I actually, the last 2 weeks here, I've been sneezing like crazy. And I don't have allergies. Yeah. I mean, like sneezing like crazy. And I'm like, and my eyes have been itchy. So I'm like, maybe I'm starting to develop them.
Oh, in your old age.
Yeah. And I don't sneeze like I'm like I startle, like I sneeze loud. So Dan's like, oh my God, I'm going to have a fucking heart attack. Like it's not like a quiet, it's like, Joe. And I try not to, but I can't. So it's been like 6 or 8.
I don't know how long. Oh, but how many? It's been about a month now of sneezing.
Yeah, I've been
since in December.
Oh,
3 months. Not like literally. Probably she'll sneeze like 25 times a day now.
Right? Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I wonder if that is. I mean, I didn't. Mine has just been like the last couple of weeks. Like,
no. But somebody said, was that the parade? Somebody said there's allergy. Like a winter allergy or something.
I feel like there's somebody's
doctor or something. Yeah.
I mean, it's because they have no other explanation for shit. So they're like, it's an allergy. It's such bullshit. That's what people say.
Well, I didn't know until I moved here. Chicago's one of the worst for allergies.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, by the way, because we're in season 3, March 20th was our 3-year. And then we started the podcast. May will be 3 years for the podcast.
Oh, March 20th.
So that was like, I remember we had a couple recordings and then you got bad allergies. And I was like, you're getting sick.
Oh,
you're
my
like,
God.
No, my allergies.
My allergies.
I think it was the second or third episode.
Probably.
And you had really bad allergies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I totally remember that. Okay. So I want the takeaway to be for parents, especially a lot of the ones that were listening and wanting us to go a little deeper, is to do some of those exercises and kind of just feel find like if you need to be like, I don't feel like tapping. I mean, a lot of people don't want to figure it out. Um,
Right.
but you're not going to be a better human if you don't. I mean, seriously, if you want to be better for yourself and for your kids, you got to do some of that stuff and figuring out where your anxiety is and knowing that when you're anxious and you're keeping it inside, your kid pretty much can feel it. Cause I
Right.
totally remember, uh, my parents stress and I, I'm more in tune to all of, we've talked about the dyslexia and all of that kind of stuff. Sometimes you're more in tune to other people's emotions, and I can go into all my woohoo stuff, but I won't. But it is, your kids can feel when you're stressed, whether you
Oh
say
yeah.
it or not. So do some of the work.
They they either feel it or a lot of kids, they know that feeling, but they just don't. They can't express it.
Right.
I feel it, but they don't know what that feeling is to be able to express it. And that's kind of the world right now. Right now, the world's never been a more crazier place. And adults are taking that on, and guess who's taking the brunt of that?
Yeah.
Are the kids.
Mm-hmm.
We think we can hide things. We can think we can. Um, some of it we can for sure. But a lot of it they know.
They know
Something's going on. They don't know exactly
what. Right.
what that is. They can't verbalize and connect the dots exactly, but they know.
Mm-hmm.
The old saying that they're too smart for their own good.
It's true.
There's a reason.
And kids, the reason why they can pick it up also so much better is they don't have all of the stuff that's in our brain, right? They don't have all the stuff that we've taken on. So it's almost like this clear, and I'm going to get a little woohoo, but a clear aura for them. It's like a kid is so innocent and opened, so they can feel when things are tight in other places. And as you just said, like they don't know why. But so when they start getting older, if you're talking about, hey, you were in school, if I heard that this happened today, or tell me about your day, is a really awesome kind of exercise to do, because then you can start talking about, oh, how did you feel in that? And if they say I got angry or I did this, or then you can break down the feeling and talk about it and put an emotion to a feeling. And then your kid is just going to be so much better off as they get older, because then they'll know what it is. And then if you can give them tools to kind of figure it out and then work through it, is even better. But that's when you have to do the work on your own to get there.
Yeah, and talk about being an adult, right? Look, everything that's comes with it, right? Kids don't have that,
No.
right? So they're
No, they don't. No, they don't. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm just going to leave it there.
all right. It's Monday.
Yeah. Do you want to say it, or do you want me to say it? Like, rate, review, and share. You never know who needs to hear this. We'll see you for another episode of Word Blindness, Dyslexia Exposed. If that was a sneeze, bless you.
It wasn't.
Oh, okay. Bless you anyways.